everyone, I'm Lien from Studio Kato and I'm so happy to be joining you again today on the Crafty Meraki YouTube channel. Today's card is pretty special. It uses the Spread Love digital stamp that Crafty Meraki has just released yesterday, and all of the profits from this digital stamp will go to the Ukraine Relief Fund. So I printed it out using my laser printer. I did heat set it afterwards because sometimes I feel like the ink still smudges, especially if I ink blend over it. So I did heat set it before I moved on to this step. And as you can see, I'm using some Pinkfresh Studio inks. I didn't end up using the brown that's over there. I just used the yellow, the orange, and the green to get some color down, base color down, before I moved on to coloring with my pencils. And it's been a while since I've done this. It's been a while since these have left the crafty closet, but I really enjoyed this. It was really relaxing. I always find coloring with colored pencils brings me back to my childhood. So it was a really relaxing, nostalgic afternoon today. And I really enjoyed the result as well. I am going to speed this up quite a bit because this took me a while to shade in every individual petal, but I did have a lot of fun with it. And things like this, or crafty things like this that take a lot of time but are quite repetitive, are the perfect thing to do while you're thinking about what is all going on in the world and how you could possibly help. So one way to help out is, of course, purchasing this digital stamp, which is, I think it's $5.99. And you get this digital stamp. It also includes a bunch of sentiments. And if you have a laser printer, you can foil those. So that would be fun to do as well. I really like the sentiments in this set, but none of mine printed very well. My printer is very awful. I am really happy that I at least got this image printed out okay. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. So I could demo this digital stamp on the YouTube channel today. So I kept my coloring fairly simple, and it's easy to do over that ink blending because you don't have to worry about the coverage of your colored pencils, which I find is always the hardest to get right when you're doing colored pencils. Now for my background, or well, for this entire card really, I was pretty inspired by Amy from Prairie Paper and Ink. Amy R. She has this amazing loose style. It's very different from my own, I think, but I really enjoy making cards like this, especially the backgrounds. So I just did some ink smooshing with some Pinkfresh Studio inks, just some yellow and some, I think it was aquamarine, and the yellow is probably sunshine or sweet mustard, one of those two. Either will work, they're quite close together. So I just smushed them down onto a slick surface. This is a laminated sheet of white cardstock. I press my watercolor cardstock in there to pick up some of the ink, and I heat set in between, and then you get all those nice textures. Now to get a little bit more texture in this background, I am using this Stencil by Altenew. I'm not sure what it's called, but I will list it in the description below. And I'm also using some texture paste. I am just applying that. My texture paste is quite old, so it's very dry and pretty difficult to apply at this point. But I managed. I just used a palette knife to kind of scrape it on in just a couple of random spots, which is again something that Amy R does often, and I always think it looks good, but I never do it. So I figured I'd give it a go. And I really like how this turned out. Now, before I am die cutting this to fit my card, fit my mini Slimline card, I am heat setting this, and I really love heat setting texture paste because it puffs up. It kind of ruined it when I die cut it, but if you don't die cut after doing this, it's a really fun cloudy effect almost. It's really puffy and it almost has a velvet finish. It's really cool. Then I die cut it with a stitched or diagonally stitched rectangle die. This is from the mini Slimline Essentials die set bundle by Pinkfresh Studio, and I just splattered on some gold paint. I did take my sunflower image a couple of times to see if I had enough splatter around it, that it's not all covered up by the sunflower. And once I was happy with that, I am going to heat set this one more time, and then I can move on to actually assembling this card. I am going to add a couple of sentiments. One is this die cut Love by Pinkfresh Studio. This is from the Essentials Word die set, or the Classic Word die set. They have essentials. They have an essential collection, and it always trips me up. So this is the Classic Word dies from their essential collection. And I die cut that 4 times out of white cardstock, layered those all together with the Barely Art Precision Craft glue. And the final layer on top is this matte gold cardstock that I recently found and I love. I also grabbed a random sentiment stamp. I stamped that 2 times just to be sure I had one that was nicely embossed, because this craft cardstock that I have is very porous, so sometimes embossing doesn't work well on it. This time it worked awesomely, so I just I trimmed that out with a coordinating die for that sentiment, just a sentiment strip die. And to assemble this card, I put that same craft cardstock on top of my mini Slimline card base, and I layered 5 layers of thick white cardstock together to put behind my watercolor background. And that is going to prop it up nice and evenly, and it's going to be really sturdy in the mail. I am propping the sunflower image up on some foam tape, so that is dimensional as well. This is a very thick card, but I really love dimension. I can't not have dimension in my cards. I glued the love sentiment down, and then I put a couple of pieces of foam tape behind the sentiment strip, just so it would be even, and the rest I just glued directly on top of that love die cut. I am adding some gold opal gems by Crafty Meraki. These are from the Meraki Sparkle collection. I love the Crafty Meraki embellishments. They are one of my favorites to use, and I'm not just saying that because I'm on their design team. I really love these embellishments. They are very high quality, and I love that they come in varying sizes, because that always looks a lot more natural when you put those on your card, so I really like them. I just folded in a matching envelope out of some patterned paper with my We Are Memory Keepers 123 punch board, and that finishes up my card. I really like how this turned out. I've said it a couple times during this video, which is probably not very humble, but I really like doing it as well. I had a lot of fun with it. I hope you check out the digital stamp. Again, all profits will go to a Ukrainian relief. I'm not entirely sure about which charity Bindu is going to donate this to, but I know it's going to the Ukraine crisis relief. So that's really lovely, and I hope you check that out and get yourself this lovely digital stamp. I love this image. I hope you liked the card. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video and leave your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to read them. You can also subscribe to the Crafty Meraki YouTube channel or to my channel. I will leave both linked on top of this video, and I hope to see you next time.